Hello all, this is Frodo, the Southwest Florida Bulldog, and welcome to episode 8 of Stray Dog Footy. It has been 2 weeks since my last episode of the pod, which was on a personal hero of mine, as well as for many others, Irene Chatfield, and I wanted to check in with everyone and say I'm still here. I was hoping to keep doing weekly episodes, but sometimes life has other plans. Nothing majorly noteworthy, but I didn't upload an episode last week due to a combination of events. I had a minor medical issue, and no, as far as I know, I'm still corona-free. But, like I mentioned on a previous episode, I'm having ongoing TMJ issues, and it really did a number on me last week. I wasn't really able to speak without slurring my words. Also, the pain would at times interfere with sleep, so that didn't really fan my creative urges either. It seems better now. Hopefully, the bones and ligaments have decided to stop sliding around and reshaping the roof of my mouth. I also had some other technical issues to deal with. Basically, I didn't have internet access during the time I usually set aside for my research that I was doing for the next historic piece I'm working on. It takes a good deal of time and effort to put these episodes together, so with everything, I just decided to give myself a little staycation from podcasting. Alright, enough whining. Or whinging, or sooking, as they call it down under. Have you heard the great news? I even saw it on the return of AFL 360 this morning. After over 80 days, as long as it supposedly takes to fly a hot air balloon around the world, finally, footy is back, baby. Well, almost anyway. At the time of recording this, round 2 should kick off in about 3 days with the Collingwood Magpies and the Richmond Tigers. This is perhaps the most universally anticipated match of the round, and it seems a good one to start footy back up with. Though it is a Thursday night game in Melbourne, in my time zone, the Eastern US, it starts at 5:40 a.m. on the morning of Thursday, June 11. Not too bad, just have to get up a bit earlier than usual to watch it live. Those start times, as well as the matches that begin around midnight here, are not too rough to deal with. However, the 2, 3, or 4 a.m. starts are a bit more challenging to watch live. Those I would usually catch later on the Watch AFL app or on the DVR if it was broadcast here on American television. Unless, of course, it's the Bulldogs playing. Then I will either stay up half the night or get up in the middle of the night to see the red, white, and blue live, no matter the time. So this Sunday morning, June 14th, I will be setting my alarm for 4 a.m. to see my doggies take on St. Kilda in the last match of round 2. No one said following a sport on the opposite side of the world would be easy. But hearing Sons of the West blaring across the stadium as my boys take the field is always worth the lost sleep. The same holds true for Daughters of the West when the AFLW season is on. Being a club member, it fills me with a certain pride that merely being a fan of a team doesn't quite compare to. I've been a supporter of both NFL and NHL teams for many years, and both English and Norwegian soccer teams as a kid. But cheering on my Bulldogs just feels more intense and yet somehow more personal than anything I have known before, and it is this which I will spend some time talking about today. But before I don my tricolor pom-poms, let me not forget that there are still 7 other games this coming weekend. As I said, we start off with Thursday Night Footy, bringing us the Pies and Tigers with the opening bounce scheduled for 5:40 a.m. here. I suspect the pregame coverage will begin sometime before that. What is particularly exciting about this is that the contest and several other games will be broadcast on American television. This match will be shown live on Fox Sports 1. So set either your alarm or your DVR to catch footy's much anticipated return. Friday Night Footy, or Friday morning at 5:50 a.m. for me and the others on the east coast of the USA, has the Hawthorn Hawks traveling down the highway to Geelong to take on the Cats. A bit of a rarity, as oftentimes in the past this might have been played at the MCG due to the more limited seating capacity at the Cattery. But no crowds? No problem. Unfortunately, this game is not shown live in the States, and I will have to defer to my Watch AFL app to stream it. Then the usual Saturday extravaganza featuring 4 matches. First, from the Queensland hub, we go to the Gabba with the Brisbane Lions against the Fremantle Dockers. actually starting just before midnight here on Friday. I believe this match will be shown on Fox Sports 2 here in the States. This channel is often part of a more optional cable sports package with most cable companies, and usually comes with an additional fee. After that, we have the Carlton Blues against the Melbourne Demons, starting at 2:35 a.m. on Saturday after midnight. Internet streaming time again for this one. Next, we have the Showdown, as it is called, with the Port Adelaide Power battling the Adelaide Crows for South Australian bragging rights. In the Eastern US time zone, this starts at 5:40 a.m. The Adelaide Showdown is scheduled to be broadcast on Fox Sports 1. Starting at the same time, again up in the Queensland hub, we also have the Gold Coast Suns taking on the West Coast Eagles. No live US TV coverage for this one, unfortunately. Okay, now on Sunday in Sydney, we have the GWS Giants versus the North Melbourne Kangaroos, actually starting at 11 p.m. on Saturday night here. This should also be shown on Fox Sports 1. Can you believe it? All these live games. It's so cool. Then at 1:30 a.m. here, Sunday morning, also from Sydney, we have the Sydney Swans and Essendon Bombers. Again, booting up the Watch AFL app for this match. Finally, as I mentioned before, saving the best for last, we have my Bulldogs and the St. Kilda Saints. In addition to seeing my doggies play again, I am especially excited to see new Dogs forward Joshua Bruce take on his old team, the Saints. Josh, if by some miracle you're listening, happy belated birthday as well. And I am happy to report that this game is also being broadcast on Fox Sports 1 live here in the US of A. So again, set your alarm or your DVR for early Sunday morning. But as always, I recommend getting the Watch AFL app through a Western Bulldogs International membership, or, if you have to, through whatever other club you happen to support. It's cheaper than going directly to the WatchAFL.com site, and you get some cool team kit like a hat or a scarf, and some other membership stuff. But most importantly, for me at least, you get added into the official club's membership count. And then you get that special feeling, a bond if you will, that I mentioned before. And this brings me back to what I wanted to talk about today. My friend and moderator of the Western Bulldogs International Fans Facebook group, Moira Marshall, recently posted a question, and I have had to take some time to think about my answer. Her posted question was, what does being a member of the Western Bulldogs mean to you? Upon first reading it, I was about to write a quick answer, something about belonging to the best club, but suddenly the comment froze half completed in my mind, then I just sat there with my mouth partially opened. And no, it wasn't because of my messed up jaw either. What did it mean to me, really? Why is supporting this club on the other side of the world in a sport I really have to go out of my way to follow so important to me? Why do I feel like a kid at Christmas when Bulldogs footy cards show up in the mail? Why is it I get teary-eyed every time I see the 2016 Grand Final highlights? Why do I watch Year of the Dogs and Outsiders documentaries over and over? Why is my DVR hard drive at least half full of Bulldogs games, even though I also have many of them on DVD as well? Why can't I bring myself to erase them, just because it was Bob Murphy's 300th game? Hell, we didn't even win that one. Why is it that, even though I live by the mantra, win, lose, or tie, I'm a Bulldog till I die, all seems wrong with the world the week after a loss, and that anything is possible when we win? Why is it I take such pride when we do win, even though hardly anyone I meet on a regular basis cares or even knows about it? Looking for the right words to answer Moira's question, I perused other people's answers on the post. Some spoke of being born and raised in the club, or bred a Bulldog, if you will. Well, that certainly wasn't me. I somewhat envied these folks, actually, with their lifetime of Bulldogs footy experiences under their belt. Sure, they've lived through some hard times in Bulldogs history, decades in fact, but they have stayed true to the red, white, and blue, and that just makes me admire them even more. I, on the other hand, knew nothing of the lean years and kind of fell into the Bulldog breed by happenstance. Or call it a wink from the universe, if you will. Now obviously, I'm stealing the title from Martin Flanagan's wonderful book about the Western Bulldogs' 2016 Premiership journey here. But had all those things not happened that needed to happen? Had Pick and Nutso caught my imagination during the finals run? Had half the team not been able to heal up during the bye week before traveling to Perth? Had Clay Smith not torn the Giants a new one the first half of the prelim? Had Jack McRae not slotted the 6 in the second half? Had Moss not brought down Buddy? Had Boyd missed from the center square? Had any number of innumerable things happened just slightly differently, then the Dogs would not have made their way to the granny and won it. Bevel wouldn't have called Bob up on the stand. The crowd wouldn't have reacted like they did, and I wouldn't have gone down the YouTube rabbit hole of Bulldogs history. I might never have heard the names Irene Chatfield or Pat and Jenny Hodgson, and I might never have become absorbed into their love of the Bulldogs, never have gone from a bandwagon jumper to a life member, never have realized that I had such a huge hole in my life that belonging to such a club would fill. I now know that I was searching for something when I first started learning about Aussie rules back in the end of 2015. If I'm being completely honest, I'm pretty sure I was looking for an escape. There's a term we have been hearing more and more often in my line of work as a first responder, as we try to cope with the rising rate of mental health issues gripping my brothers and sisters. That term is compassion fatigue. Merriam-Webster defines compassion fatigue as the physical and mental exhaustion and emotional withdrawal experienced by those who care for sick or traumatized people over an extended period of time. I know I have both felt this in myself and seen it in others over the years. Also, people have said they have noticed a change in me. My co-workers' spouses, likewise, had seen a change in them. We had become colder, darker, withdrawn. And honestly, it would be strange if we weren't affected in some way by what we see and have to do on a fairly regular basis. The fact that it does affect us means that we are still human after all. We might even bear this hardening as some sort of badge of honor. And being more aware of it now, looking back to when I first started following the AFL, I was definitely fatigued to the point of not really caring about anything. From work, sure, but as much, if not more so, or even actually compounded by, the constant barrage of hatred, ignorance, and negativity that was everywhere at that time. Things were ramping up here for the presidential election after all, and there seemed no way to block out the noise of it all. And now, suddenly, here was this new and wonderful thing, the most amazing sport ever devised, from far away in a seemingly much happier place. It was exciting, it was tough, it was beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. In the end, however, I think it was just a distraction. A lovely diversion to be sure, but I'm not convinced I would have become so emotionally invested in footy had the stars not lined up for the Bulldogs' fairy tale to become reality just when I got interested, leading to my curiosity about the club, its long and sometimes difficult history, and its wonderful supporters. Again, looking at other people's answers to Moira's question, some mentioned how being a Bulldogs member is about family for them. When I first started following the AFL, this term certainly didn't apply to me. Even after being a member for a few years, though I had met many friendly Bulldog supporters online, I don't think I would have called them family. But a year ago, this coming weekend, I traveled to Australia. And after meeting so many inspirational folks in person, after the unimaginably awesome welcome I received from everyone, be it club employees, players, and fans in the stands and even on the train, I do now honestly feel as if I do belong to the Bulldogs family. So to answer the question, what does being a member of the Western Bulldogs mean to you? All I can say is this. Did it save my life? I think that might be a bit too strong of a statement. But footy sure pulled me out of my tired numbness at the time when I needed it. And the Bulldogs team, club, and now family have kept me energized and connected ever since. Be it natural disasters, horrible PTSD-inducing workplace incidents, pandemics, politics, murder wasps, and other fear-mongering on social media, or the dramatic events of this past week here in the States. Despite it all, there is this one constant red, white, and blue beacon guiding me through the storm. Being a Western Bulldogs member is a huge part of who I am now. And as a supporting member of my footy club, unlike what I've experienced with other sports, I feel I am a little part of it as well. Thanks for the post and question, Moira. I hope I answered it well. And thanks for all your work on our Facebook page. Your addition has definitely been a huge boon to the group. And to everyone else out there, if you haven't already, whether you are in Australia, here in America, or anywhere else in the world, I advise you to purchase a membership from your favorite AFL club. Taking just this little bit of ownership of your team will change the way you feel about sports. As always, I thank you so much for listening. I will be so grateful if you will be kind enough to share a link to this podcast with your friends and family. It can be found on your favorite podcast playing site or at straydogfooty.podbean.com. And I would love to hear your questions and suggestions. Maybe I can help you get more information about getting your own membership. It means a lot to me when people listen and take the time to comment on these episodes. If there's a certain topic or a bit of footy history you would like me to cover, please let me know that as well. Also, if you want to be a part of the Stray Dog Footy podcast, you can send me a short audio clip telling me about your favorite footy moment, or why you chose the club you did, or even your predictions for this season. Will your team take home the flag? You can reach me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Stray Dog Footy, and by email at straydogfooty@yahoo.com. I also just wanted to mention that I am not endorsed by or officially affiliated with either the Australian Football League or the Western Bulldogs, beyond being a huge fan and supporter. Likewise, I am not endorsed or affiliated with Peg and the Rejected, but I am a fan of their music. I would like to thank them for the use of their song Red, White, Black and Blue, which I used a portion of as the intro to this episode. I will also play us out to their entire song, and of course, leave a link in the show notes to their music. Before I go, I want to send out a few thanks to Rosanna of the AFL Obsessed podcast. She was kind enough to feature my sound clip on her latest mini-episode called Time On, Your Stories, number 3. And that was a lot of fun. But her last full episode, called The Mighty West, is definitely something every Bulldogs fan should give a listen to. I've listened to it at least 3 times now, and it always brings a tear to my eye. In addition, Craig, over at A Yank on the Footy podcast, keeps cranking out quality episodes one after another on all things footy, and you can really learn a lot from his pod. Finally, if you haven't already, check out the book A Wink from the Universe by Martin Flanagan. It is one of my favorite books ever, of any genre. I bet you will enjoy it tremendously. Be well, my friends, and remember, footy is back, baby.